Welcome to today's Explainer. Get ready because we're about to embark on an absolutely fascinating journey through 50 years of the unwritten rules of human interaction. We're going to break down exactly how linguists uncover the secrets behind how we talk, how we show politeness, or even how we intentionally offend each other.
Think about this for a second. Have you ever spent 5 whole minutes staring at your screen, just trying to craft a single sentence in an email to your boss? Or maybe you've gotten annoyed by a short chat reply from a friend that felt just a little bit rude. So the real question is this thing we call politeness purely about strict grammar rules, or is it actually a complex social survival strategy? As you'll see, high-level linguistic theory is directly tied to the everyday reality of your office emails and group chats.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap. We'll look at the evolution of politeness studies, then break it down into Wave 1, speaker strategies, Wave 2, relational evaluation, and Wave 3, interactional achievement, before wrapping up with the pragmatic paradigm shift. Everything is neatly organized into these distinct, digestible waves.
Section 1. The evolution of politeness and impoliteness studies, from speaker to interaction.
Over the last 50 years, our understanding has completely evolved. There's been a massive paradigm shift, moving from a really rigid structure focused solely on the speaker to a dynamic, relational dance between everyone involved. We've got Wave 1 in the 70s and 80s, Wave 2 in the early 2000s, and Wave 3 in the contemporary era. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand that these waves didn't just replace each other. Like actual waves in the ocean, they crashed, stacked, and built upon one another to completely reshape how we understand pragmatics today.
Let's move to Wave 1, speaker strategies and the classic foundations of politeness.
Back in this era, the rules were incredibly structural and rigid, heavily influenced by heavyweights like Grice and Erving Goffman. In 1967, Goffman introduced a foundational concept called face. Now, we're not talking about your physical face here. It's the positive social value you claim for yourself during an interaction. Imagine face has two sides. Positive face, which is our deep desire to be recognized and liked, and negative face, which is our desire for autonomy, freedom, and just not being bothered. This concept is vital because it's the bedrock that supports all 3 waves of this theory.
Building right on top of that concept of face, in 1987, Brown and Levinson formulated the most influential model of linguistic politeness strategies in the world. They argued that because every interaction is a potential threat to someone's face, we, as speakers, strategically choose from a few options. If you're close to someone, you might be totally direct or bald on record, like pass the salt. But if there's social distance, a power dynamic, or a huge request, you'll pivot to positive politeness, careful negative politeness, or even go completely off record and use hints. The key here is that all these strategies are entirely controlled by the speaker.
But wait, what about the dark side of communication? In 1996, Jonathan Culpeper brilliantly flipped this entire framework on its head. He introduced the concept of ImPoliteness. Culpeper pointed out that human beings aren't always cooperative. Sometimes we intentionally use language to attack, damage face, use sarcasm, or consciously create relational disruption. It proves that conflict is just as vital a part of human communication analysis, especially when you look at politics or social media today.
Okay, moving on to Wave 2, relational evaluation, critique, and context.
As time went on, that initial paradigm started facing some serious pushback. By the early 2000s, we saw a sort of rebellion in the world of pragmatics. Critics realized that the old universal rules from the 80s just didn't work for every culture or situation. So, the crucial point is this massive shift in focus. Wave 1 was obsessed with universal rules and the speaker's intention. Wave 2 tore that down, arguing that meaning doesn't hide in what the speaker intends, but rather emerges from how the listener actually interprets it within a specific cultural context.
The key figures in this shift were Locker and Watts in 2005 with their concept of relational work. They strongly argued that politeness isn't an inherent trait of a word. A word isn't automatically polite or rude. Instead, our behavior is guided by what they called politic behavior, the norms considered appropriate in a specific society. So politeness is purely a real-time evaluation made together by the people involved in the interaction.
This understanding was enriched even further by Spencer Odie's rapport management theory in 2008. She pointed out that a harmonious interaction isn't just about saving face, it's also about fairness, equality, and our interactional obligations, which she called sociality rights. This framework is incredibly valuable if you're analyzing how people from different cultures try to communicate without offending each other in a global workplace.
And that brings us to Wave 3, interactional achievement and dynamic synthesis.
Rather than endlessly debating whether wave 1 or wave 2 was right, modern researchers decided to synthesize them. They wanted to take the friction of past debates and turn it into a holistic, highly dynamic model. In 2010, Arundel completely redefined things with the face constituting theory. This was a real game changer. Arundel clarified that face isn't something you own individually and carry around in your pocket. It's dynamically co-created in real time while you're talking. It's a continuous negotiation between our desire to connect with the other person and our desire to remain separate and autonomous.
Then, in 2013, Ha brought it all together into an integrative approach. Contemporary research brilliantly layers these analytical steps. They refuse to throw away the old theories. Instead, they acknowledge the speaker's intention from wave 1, incorporate the listener's evaluation from wave 2, and conclude that communication is a simultaneous social, cognitive, and relational process. It's a much richer analytical framework.
Finally, let's look at the pragmatic paradigm shift, an evolutionary conclusion.
And this brilliantly illustrates the conclusion of our evolutionary journey today. We've seen that the understanding of language has drastically shifted from viewing it as just a cognitive tool inside an individual's head to recognizing it as a collaborative social practice. To summarize, the focus shifted from the strategic speaker in wave 1 to the relationally evaluating listener in wave 2, and finally to the holistically co-created interaction in wave 3. This is the ultimate evolutionary map of how humans have understood each other over the last half-century.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. With all these frameworks in mind, I want you to observe, how does your daily digital interaction, whether it's a short text reply, the emojis you choose, or even leaving someone on read, actively shape your relational face and the face of the people you're talking to? These theories aren't just notes on paper. They are operating in real time on your smartphone screen every single day. Thanks for joining this exploration, and have fun observing the magic of communication all around you.